We stand on the edge of profound change. To meet the demands of a green transition, we need collective wisdom, diverse voices, and bold ideas. Collaboration is the key to unlocking our sustainable future. Together, we can overcome the challenges ahead and seize the opportunities that will define the green economy.
Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to the Green Economy Forum. We're just registering the last few attendees, but we've got a huge amount to get through today and a great number of insightful guests and panelists and speakers to hear from. My name is Matt Farquharson. I am Editor-in-Chief here at the Conduit, and I'll be with you at various points through the course of the day. Today, we had a conference about 6 weeks ago looking at green jobs and reskilling and what is required for the green transition. And today, we're going to look at how we go about paying for it. Given the news that many of us have woken up to this morning and what that might mean for the green agenda, it seems more important than ever that we take matters into our own hands. And so, with that in mind, to open the day, I'd like to introduce our co-founder and CEO, Paul van Zyl.
Thank you very much, Matt, and thank you all very much for attending. We're going to have, for some points in the day, standing room only and people in the overflow room, which is a good problem to have. So thank you for your patience on that. As I was coming up here, an old friend and founding member of the Conduit, who I'm now looking at, said to me, it reminds me of Churchill's statement about Americans, is that they always do the right thing once they've exhausted all other alternatives. And all I can say is it's exhausting when that happens. So it's going to be an interesting couple of years ahead of us. And let me make a couple of thank yous before we get started. First, there is a roster of unbelievable speakers who have given of their time to contribute to this debate. And so I'd like to thank all of them. I'd like to thank you, the audience, for attending, and to Conduit members for their continued support and engagement in this endeavor that we're working on together. To our partners who have made this conference possible, to Deloitte, to the British Chamber of Commerce, to Systemic, to Kite Insights, to the Department of Business and Trade, the Green Alliance, and to Quadrature, thank you very much for allowing us to convene this conversation. To our remarkable Conduit team who makes this happen, to Perez, to Jay, to Eddie, to Matt, to Asher, to Beth, to Hannah, to Meljo, and to the entire front of house team, thank you in advance for allowing this conference to happen in the way that it does. So, why are we here? We care about addressing an irrefutable existential challenge, and we're not quitters. And if the base case just got twice as hard, it makes what we do today 10 times more important. And this conference is part of a continuous effort by the Conduit to try and address how to accelerate the net zero transition. We've held a conference in partnership with the New York Times on climate solutions. We support an annual conference on young innovators, many of whom are working in the climate space. As Matt has just indicated, we just held a major conference on green jobs. And next year, in March, we'll be holding a significant convening on the intersection between insurance markets and climate, and another major conference during London Climate Action Week on the intersection between climate change and public health, and then a significant larger conference on how to support impact entrepreneurs in the climate space. So we're optimists in the Conduit. And we believe that the world's most difficult challenges are opportunities waiting for solutions. So let's imagine, as we kick off this conference, that all of us in this room are a finance minister or a chancellor And let's assume that you want to allocate substantial resources to financing the green transition. So today's conference is designed to provide you with the insights to assess how this can and should be done, and how we can accelerate the allocation of resources and finance to the green transition, both here in the UK and abroad. But in order to evaluate this, we need criteria. So let's do this exercise together, and I'm happy to get us started. Please feel free to jot down these goals and subtract or add to them as you see fit. So the first thing, and it's rather obvious, is this is really not just about how much money we allocate. We need to allocate that money to the right things. We need to finance the right things, and we need to assess which interventions will lead to the most efficient carbon reductions or drawdowns per pound invested. And this is a complex and contested endeavor, and our speakers will keep returning to this theme throughout the day. But this investment doesn't occur in a vacuum. When we allocate finance, we also care about the other co-benefits. So let's list those two and be clear about them. And I'd like to suggest that we want investments that boost productivity. We want investments that increase the overall growth rate. We want investments that create the largest possible number of jobs. We want to support a labor market with the skills necessary to facilitate the green transition. We want to figure out how we remove the regulatory hurdles that will slow the investment or delay construction or the rollout of infrastructure necessary to support the green transition. How do we play with sticks and carrots? How do we increase disincentives and put in place the right taxes that raise revenue and slow carbon-intensive activity? And correspondingly, how do we create the right incentives to support the right kind of activity? How will our investments narrow inequality and generate opportunity for those left behind? We need citizens to feel that this transition benefits them if we want them to remain supportive of this transition. How do we raise finance in a way that deals sensibly with debt and reassures markets? How do we invest in a way that supports our economy's competitive strengths and deals with the imbalances within our economies? How do we communicate all of this and roll it out in a clear and comprehensible manner that can be understood and evaluated by non-expert citizens? And how can our country play a leading role in facilitating the flow of finance to those countries which are the largest emitters and who are committed to rapid decarbonization, but who may lack access to the finance to allow them to do so? And further, how can we facilitate the transfer of funds to allow countries to preserve their carbon sinks? You may want to add to or subtract from that list. This is not an easy endeavor, but nothing of any consequence ever is. So I hope today you think about your criteria for successfully financing a green transition, and by the end of the day, you are enriched and able to contribute to this debate in a more sophisticated way. And finally, the Conduit is not a talk shop. It's a place where we want people to take meaningful action. In this room, you will find a remarkable group of people and co-conspirators. Do not leave this conference without meeting dozens and dozens of people. One of our KPIs is, do we facilitate our community making meaningful connections? So please use every possible opportunity in every break, every coffee, at lunch, and after drinks, and during drinks at the end of this all, to meet people, exchange cards, collaborate, and work together. And with that, I have the enormous privilege of introducing Nigel Topping, who is our introductory keynote speaker. I had a few minutes with Nigel this morning, and I came away optimistic, which is one of his great superpowers. He's been a high-level climate champion. He has been at the forefront of this for decades, and we're incredibly lucky to have him today. So Nigel.